insights into their own future. Because if now United Nations and UN and United States, they are throwing millions to help in the war. Why didn't they do those millions? Why didn't they give those millions in peace? I mean,
they actually did. The Palestinians received $40 billion, not million, dollars between 1994 and 2020. But corrupt elites in the Palestinian people stole all this money. This is 40 billion. By the way, 30 billion out of the 40 billion were given by non-Muslims. So they tried. They tried to solve the problem with money.
Orientation is lock, rotate device back. What do you mean?
The problem there
This
is not
has to be this way.
Economic mostly. It's not even nationalistic mostly. The problem there is a clash of worldviews, a clash of psychology, a clash of theology. It's a philosophical battle. It's a battle of philosophies. And it can be solved only by philosophy in the Platonian sense, philosophy kings.
I agree with you, Sam. I was living 1.5 years in Africa. I traveled to several countries in Africa, and I would say I saw pretty much the same.
Okay, that doesn't want to accept.
To those countries, and people are starving. And I would say countries with immense resources, much more than in Europe.
You mentioned life as the ultimate value. Something malignant has happened to religions. They have become death cults.
Exactly.
For example, Judaism, in its transformation into nationality and a culture, not only a religion, Judaism is elevating and glorifying suicide. Do you know that every Jewish soldier has to visit Masada? It's a place where Jewish fighters committed suicide, collective suicide. They kill their families and then they kill themselves. Every soldier has to go there and take an oath. Why there? We have so many other sites that they could have visited, but they are taken there because of the suicide pact. Judaism glorifies death in many ways. And of course Islam glorifies death. The concept of Shahada, the concept of the Shaheed, the martyr, who gives his life for the greater good. Religions became death cults because the world has shifted its emphasis from human beings to material objects. A material object doesn't have to be a car or a smartphone. A country, a physical country, is a material object. If you're willing to die for a river, for a mountain, for a hill, you're a materialist. It doesn't matter if this is cloaked in nationalism. You're a materialist. You're fighting for something material. When we transitioned from spiritualism, which lasted well into the 16th century, when we transitioned from spiritualism to materialism, which I blame Protestantism for, at that minute, religions became death cults. Because when you are emotionally invested in physical objects, you venerate death. Physical objects can never be honored. You venerate death. We use forced labor and child labor to produce smartphones. That means we value smartphones more than workers in China who produce them. We kill people for oil. So we definitely have a preference for material goods over human beings. And the thing is that we lie to ourselves. We say, yeah, material goods is my laptop and my smartphone and my television, my refrigerator. That's material goods. No. Material goods is the territory of your country. That's also material. The thing is that the truth is that nothing physical is worth dying for. Period. Nothing physical is more important than human life. Nothing. Not a country, not a device, not the economy. Nothing is worth dying for.
Not an ideology as well. Yes, along these, I would say more than centuries, um, we grow on fearing also, paradoxically, as the more life lost is sacred, meaning I would say, we also fear death. These are death cults in a way, yes, because they are killing us. In a way, we are also much more afraid of death that when we were connected to the seasons in another way, because we knew that after winter, spring would come again, maybe in another form. It would be, I would say, a different flow of affairs inside of us. So I know that your time is about, it's almost.
No, don't worry about my time. It's good that you said they're killing us, because we think that the people in Gaza are in danger. The people in the Negev desert, abutting Gaza, are in danger. Maybe the Israelis are in danger. We don't realize. We are being assassinated every day. Every day, each and every one of us is being assassinated through, for example, air pollution, through global warming. This is a mass assassination thing. It's a death cult in the sense that it offers human sacrifice to a god or a divinity, which is material. That's all. And we are all being sacrificed, not only the people of Gaza. Their death is much more visible and much faster, but we are all dying.
Absolutely, Sam. And that responsibilizes us much more. And you mentioned earlier that maybe I was kind of traumatized. Yes, I know this 1.5 years in Africa, seeing so many people growing in rage, growing in fear, in violence, growing in being in hunger, women being violated, honors. Maybe I am traumatized because it's very traumatized by the unfairness of it all.
I was economic advisor to President Momo. President Momo was the general who took over Sierra Leone and started the civil war there. I was there those 2 years. When the civil war started, under General Momo, I was his advisor. I have seen things there. I've lived in Africa for 4 years. I know Africa well. Western Africa. So I have seen these things, of course, but I've also lived in East Europe during the transition from communism. I lived in Russia for 6 years. I have seen humanity at its worst. And I've seen the tidal wave of narcissism and entitlement and grandiosity and victimhood. I've seen it all coming. I've been warning against it for 3 decades now. And maybe crucifixion is not such a bad thing after all. If resurrection is guaranteed in 3 years or 3 decades, 3 days or 3 decades, maybe.
Sam, I have a granddaughter. She's Maya. She's 5 years old. And I have to do my best to honor her. And when I say her, I would say all children, because when you have children and grandchildren, all of the others become ours. So this, from here today, what I feel when I leave, it's more responsibility, much more responsibility. Of saying yes to a crucifixion, in my circumstances, what needs to go, doing in my circumstances whatever I can, what is possible to me each day. That is what I bring with me.
And this is exactly why people are atomized. That is why they broke apart from each other. They lost faith in the ability to have any influence on larger processes. They say, I'm going to take care of myself, I'm going to take care of my immediate family, I'm going to make a difference in my life, but I don't believe in my capacity to have any effect outside my life or beyond my life. I'm not criticizing you. I think if every atom behaves properly, then the molecule will be okay. Yeah?
Yes, because I take care of my own, what in me needs to die.
Yes.
My rage, my bad rage, not my good rage. And saying what have to be transformed. That's what I'm saying, because I am responsible for that. So that maybe I can do something better with the others. And I know that we influence a lot each other. I believe so. You influence so many people. People that are listening to us, people that are in our, people that come to my consultations, my sessions, we influence people, of course.
I think we were exposed to three models. The first model was collectivism, the second model was individualism, and the third model was communitarian, communities. And we tried communities, and then because of the numbers, because we are too many, then we transitioned to collectivism. And collectivism was a really seriously bad idea. Communism was collectivist. Mao's China was collectivist. I mean, hundreds of millions of people literally died because of collectivism. So we said, oh, forget collectivism. We're going to become individuals. We're going to act as atoms. We're not going to interact with each other. We're not going to have common agendas. We're going to do... And then, but this is not the solution, of course. Collectivism is not the solution. Malignant individualism is not the solution. Community is not the solution.
I'm speaking about individuation, which is much different than individuation. That is the process. And I would ask you to speak forward that what you have just told. Please bring to the table of negotiations philosophers, psychoanalysts, psychologists, people from the academia, bring them. That is, I would say, an important key, and it is important right here, right now, in this very moment. Sam, whenever you come to Portugal, please let me know, because I would love to meet you in person.
He would
and
not
I want
love it.
to thank you very much for this wonderful interview. I have many food for thought and to feel within my own heart, in my own meditations and reflections. And I would like to also end with my prayers, because I believe in good thoughts and good intentions, and in the prayers for everybody, and in this moment especially for those who need most.
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to do something here.
That I would say love.
It's one of those days where like things are just falling, jumping. Okay.
To you as well.
Ron, where's my screen? Hi, Ron. I haven't seen you in a while. I've looked for you a while ago and I couldn't find your channels. And then I found a blog and it had an old post, so I didn't know, your whereabouts. It's nice to see you. I'll look for your channel after this stream. Good to see you, buddy. See this, looking for another thing to listen to. If there's anyone watching, you may not like the subjects that I listen to, but trying to find something to watch here. Do you guys have a watch later playlist that it's into the thousands. I do. I have several YouTube channels and several playlists. So I get lost. Like, what do I want to watch today? What topic? Something I don't have to be staring at the screen. I can just listen. I got up really tired today. I had a barrage of bad dreams again. Every night. Okay, I'm gonna do this. John McAfee. My computer, or maybe I should say the internet or the airwaves are so slow lately. I'm again getting texts, hours
Welcome
delayed.
back to episode 36 of the Blockburner Podcast.
All right, guys, back to silence and painting.
As always, here with Iron Man. What's going on? And today, we're bringing a very special guest, a man that needs no introduction, a legend, John McAfee. Almost a unicorn in a way, like, you know, a mythical creature. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's so much lore and history behind this, man. I don't think we're gonna have enough time to go through it all. Yeah.
No, we don't, trust me.
Yeah. So John, it's a real pleasure to have you on. We actually grew up with your name, so you're synonymous with like Windows and Word. I mean, it's a real pleasure to talk to you, man.
Well, thank you very much. It's been 20 years since I was involved in McAfee.
I think they know what McAfee is.
When it first started.
It's not Windows, dudes. That's Bill
When it
Gates.
grew to about 2,000 people in 1991, I was no longer having fun. I mean, I spent all my time with stockholders, board of directors meetings, personnel issues, finance. That's no fun for me. I mean, when it first started, it was a war between the antivirus companies, and I was the only one for an entire year, and the virus writers. And it was like a moral crusade. The programmers and I, we'd get a new virus and we'd spend all night taking it apart, finding its vulnerabilities and weaknesses and how we could detect it, number one, and remove it, number two. It was still, we'd go for 5 days straight without sleep. When it grew to this monster size, I was I couldn't do development. I was responsible for the whole company. So, you know, I just I went in one day. The first thing I did is I hired my replacement, Gary Larson, who was the senior vice president at IBM at the time. Hired him. After 2 weeks, I saw, man, this bastard's smart. He can manage this. I went in and shook hands and said goodbye, and I never went back.
Interesting. Well, I want to take you back to, let's time travel a little bit. Let's go back to 1987. You just started McAfee Associates. It's super early days of the internet. What did you see at the time that gave you the motivation to start the company in the first place?
Well, I mean, we didn't have computer viruses up until 1987. The first computer virus was the Pakistani brain, built by two brothers in a computer repair shop in Lahore, Pakistan.
Yep, remember.
Nor had heard of the concept before. You remember?
Wait.
How old are you, my friend?
I'm only 33, but I remember reading the history of all that stuff.
Okay. All right. So when it was first discovered, it was news. People go, what is this? And the day that it was discovered or made public, my brother-in-law was reading a paper and he said, hey, listen to this. There's this thing called computer viruses. I snatched the paper from him and read the article. And I thought,
Well, how did they do that? How do you write a program with the capability of infecting other programs? Well, operating systems, or boot sectors, right? Or even modifying the ROM in some cases. How do you do that? And then it just came to me, go, oh, it's fucking simple. And simultaneously, I go, it's simple to stop as well. So I designed this little program, and my programming friend and I put it together in about 30 hours. And I put it up on my bulletin board system. I had the largest bulletin board system in Silicon Valley at the time, called Homebase. And I had 32 phone lines coming into my house. These are the days prior to, we didn't have the internet, we had bulletin boards. You would upload files to one, someone would download them and upload them to another. It was slow. But when I put my virus scan program up, 10 million people had it and were using it. And I don't know, I mean, the rest is just history. It's just chance. Everything in life is chance. You think you plan your future, let me tell you, all the best laid plans with mice in the end go astray. And the other thing you want to remember is the military adage, no military plan survives contact with the enemy. And the human or the personal version of that is no plan in your life will survive the reality of the world around you. This is the truth.
That's some good wisdom right there. Just start off that way.
No, absolutely.
I don't know how good it is. Okay.
Well, wait.
I'm just saying. Listen, let me tell you the greatest story that proves that, and that's Bill Gates and Microsoft. All right. So you think, well, God, Bill Gates is so smart to build that company. No, he built an operating system. So did Digital Research down in Los Angeles. IBM came on with the IBM PC. Great hardware manufacturers, horrible software manufacturers. They were in a time crunch to catch up with Apple, who came out with the first PC. So they went to Digital Research first, who's an older company, to buy the rights to their operating system. In wonderful terms, basically, listen, we're not going to pay anything, but we're going to use your operating system and give you the rights to that operating system.
I drew this cat here, and I don't want the cat there. And I guess the only thing that would hide, because I used ink, would be gesso. If I put gesso here, I cannot use watercolors. But also, since I drew with a pen, I cannot use watercolors. It's not going to cover this mess. You see, I made a mess drawing the cat there. So I may have to do a collage on her dress instead of painting. I think I'll do a collage that would hide the cat. And it's also gonna hide this flower that I wanted to keep here because she's holding some flower, you see? I want to keep this flower right there. But if I do a collage, it's not, I mean, I could try, but it's not gonna work well. Anyway, I don't know that this painting is gonna work at all. But anytime that I am putting the brush to paper or to canvas, I'm practicing. So even if it doesn't work, it's practice. And it's giving me ideas. It's giving me experience with my materials. And sometimes that's all I do. Things that I'm not even gonna list. If it's a good painting, a good design, I sometimes will draw it again on another piece of paper and repaint. I'm not finding the blue that I use for this background. I think it was one of these pencils. Okay, back to listening to the video.
And then it just came to me, go, oh, it's fucking simple.
No, this is not the color.
I go, it's simple to stop as well. So I designed this little program, and my programming friend and I put it together in about 30 hours. And I put it up on my bulletin board system. I had the largest bulletin board system in Silicon Valley at the time, on Homebase. And I had 32 phone lines coming into my house. These are the days prior to, we didn't have the internet, we had bulletin boards. You would upload files to one, someone would download them and upload them to another. It was slow. But when I put my virus scan program up, 10 million people had it and were using it. And I don't know, I mean, the rest is just history. It's just chance. Everything in life is chance. You think you plan your future, let me tell you, all the best laid plans, it might seem, yeah, go astray. And the other thing you want to remember is the military adage, no military plan survives contact with the enemy. And the human or the personal version of that is no plan in your life will survive the reality of the world. This is the truth.
That's some good wisdom right there. Just start off that way.
No, absolutely.
I don't know how good it is. Okay.
Well, wait.
I'm just saying. Listen, let me tell you the greatest story that proves that, and that's Bill Gates and Microsoft. All right. So you think, well, God, Bill Gates is so smart to build that company. No, he built an operating system. So did Digital Research down in Los Angeles. IBM came on with the IBM PC. Great hardware manufacturers, horrible software manufacturers. They were in a time crunch to catch up with Apple, who came out with the first PC. So they went to Digital Research first, who's an older company, to buy the rights to their operating system. In wonderful terms, basically, this is not going to pay anything, but we're going to use your operating system and give you the rights to that operating system. Good God, any smart business family gone.
This is why you should always use pencil for your sketch.
If you will take it from me for free. Why? Because IBM, you knew they were going to become the world fucking standard. End of story. And they were willing to give Digital Research perpetual rights to the operating system. So sure, you're not going to make a dime for a year, but then your first year, you're going to make $1 billion. So Digital Research, they have the Digital Research.
Maybe, you know what I could do? I could draw a cat. Okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to draw a cat in another piece of paper. Here's my solution. I'm going to draw a cat in another piece of paper that is slightly bigger than this one, and I'm going to glue it here on top of this. So then I can keep everything else. Too bad that I put this horizontal line right there. Ay, ay, ay. This is not how I like to use my watercolor pencils. The way I use, my favorite is this. I put some water on the paintbrush and I pick up the paint and put it on paper. That's my favorite method of using watercolor pencils. I've always done it that way. Recently I saw someone doing it the same way. Alrighty.
can't sign anything unless my lawyers look it over. This is simply one-page fucking sheet saying, listen, you give us the operating system, we give you the full potential rights to write the operating systems for our PCs. The guy goes, I gotta talk to my lawyers. I go, we don't have time. They hopped the plane, went up to Seattle that same fucking day, sat down with Bill Gates, who had MS-DOS at that time, and gave him the same offer. Well, he signed it immediately. Clever enough to understand, yes, I'm not getting a dime, but it's going to make me the richest man in the world. So, now, did he plan that? Is there anything Bill Gates could
If I do that to the cat, I'm gonna need to do the same thing to her crown, because see, I drew it in pen also, and it's hidden in the blue. I'm gonna have to do one and then collage right there. That's all I'm gonna do for now on this one. I gotta let this paint dry because the paper's so thin. It's all soaked right now, so I gotta let it dry before I do more. Let's do a little bit on this here.
life? Yeah. No. But this is what life is, people. I did not plan to write antivirus software. My brother-in-law, who'd been living with me for 2 years, lazy son of a bitch, who did not read the newspaper, read me that article. That was luck. I could not plan that with you. So if you think you're in charge of your life's plans, I want to tell you right now, I'm 74 years old, and there are a single man in my life that ever did. The button and wait for life to pass an opportunity in front of your nose, which it does every hour of your life if you're alert enough to notice it and pick it up.
You know,
I don't know how I got off on that, but there you
Don't
go.
interrupt,
one of
guys.
my favorite quotes is actually, luck is just the intersection of preparation and opportunity.
So, that's all it is.
Yeah.
Opportunity is what you cannot plan.
That's
And
right.
opportunity is what you have to be alert to. If you have a plan and you're sticking to it, I promise you, there ain't no opportunity in the world that's going to fit into that plan. You have to grab that opportunity and abandon the plan. You think Bill Gates did not abandon every other plan in his life after IBM? Don't do that to him. Because they opened up a door that previously did not exist, nor could it have been anticipated. When I did antivirus, I could not anticipate viruses popping up. You know, 2 years earlier, I'm going to do a business plan. I think viruses are going to come on or get invented. So, no, you don't have control of it. You think you do. As you convince yourself through rationalization that as your plans get unraveled, well, they got unraveled because so-and-so fucked up. When I was screwed over by a business partner, or the market wasn't ready. No. This is a fucking plan. That's what we do.
Well, that's a perfect segue into what's happening today then. There's a whole world of opportunity that within the cryptocurrency space. So I guess a good question to ask you is what do you see as the biggest opportunity today? Maybe people aren't aware of, or I know you're involved.
I think our biggest opportunity is to stop viewing crypto as a way to make money and start viewing it as a way to use money appropriately. View it as a way to free you from the financial slavery that you have been in. Now, that's an opportunity. Are we going to be smart enough to pick that fucker up? Or is the lure of instant riches going to blind us as it normally does and let us fall back into that old system, only with no less money? Now,
What a strange
it is a
smell.
ruse
Smells like something is
created
burning.
by those in power to divert us from what could be the greatest your page and everyone else's around you and free yourselves from the corrupt, overburdening attention of governments out there.
So how do we send that message or portray that message to the common man who doesn't necessarily, they might not be able to identify that there's a problem in the first place, especially here, like in the United States, a first world country. You know, the system is operating as expected. You know, a younger person from our, millennial generation, we were born and raised in this system. We don't know any way to escape it. So do we need some type of catalyst event in order for that message to become more clear that there is an alternative out there right now?
3 years ago?
Blockchain and cryptocurrency.
Like a monetary collapse.
Yeah.
No, the situation's already happened.
Yeah.
And it's been happening for 106 years in America. And that is, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What do you think every American's greatest expense in life is?
Taxes.
What?
Taxes?
Taxes.
That was quick.
You work for the government for 2, 3, or sometimes up to months
Yeah.
out of the year. The sweat of your brow and the fruits of your labor taken from your hands as you were created. You understand, this is what serfdom used to be. Here's a plot of land, plow it. I'm the king, I'm going to send some people around and take 25% of it for me. Even though I can't eat much food, no, we're the same fucking situation. So, you're asking what needs to happen? It's happened, people. Wake the fuck up and see the insanity of working for a government.
Mhm.
For 4 months out of the year, they take everything that is. And you tell me that's not slavery? That's number one, unconstitutional in America. Read the fucking Constitution. It is moral. And it was cleverly designed
It's getting hot in
to
here.
put the burden of raising revenue, because that's what government's major efforts are put into. How are we going to fund ourselves? Well, let's tax influence, which is fine. I'm talking only about income tax.
Mhm.
Let's do this, let's do that. No, they didn't have to do that anymore. With the passage of the income tax, they did not even need clerks and adding machines anymore.
Mhm.
They made it mandatory that you add the figures up, you fill out the fucking forms, you collect all the documentation. All we want is your fucking check. So all they need are 3 people to take the checks and walk across the street and put them in the fucking bank.
Yeah.
That's what they perpetrated, a joke, a horrific perpetration of horror on the American people in 1913. We didn't have taxes prior to 1913. We got along just fine. People go, how do you fund the government? There are 36 countries today that have no income taxes that are thriving. I can't spend 5 hours on tutoring the world. Look it up, people. Now they're going, oh, we can't fund it, which is what the government says. Oh, we don't have income tax. How do we fund? Google it. You'll figure out there are thousands of ways. A road tax of 10 cents a mile in America would fund our fucking government, people. Is that not more fair than you working for 3 to 4 months with the government for free? You don't have to use the roads, right?
So do you believe crypto is the mechanism to get us away from high taxes?
I don't believe it. I know it. I mean, it's so fucking clear. I mean, why am I in a Faraday cage? Communicate. And we don't live here. This is our communications room where no signal can go in or out. And I have multiple layers of truth, private VPNs that cannot be breached. It's because I'm talking to the world about what I'm about to say, which is, you want to free yourself. You don't want to pay taxes because they are illegal and unconstitutional and unjust. bankruptcy coin to a distributed exchange, nobody, not even your wife, if you do not want her to know, or your husband, will know what you're doing. Now, am I suggesting that people break the law? No. I'm suggesting that people do something which we have forgotten how to do. Be civilly disobedient when we have an unjust law. A law that is not involved in not hurting someone or stealing. No. Something I'm simply doing between me and them. Nobody else. That if we have an unjust law, I believe that you have the